Do you have a low place in your lawn and every time it rains, it turns into a swamp? All that water is not good for your yard. It's also not good for your foundation. Would you believe that this is going to cure the problem? Now, the product is called Multi-Flow, and it's a drainage system. It does much the same thing that the French drain would do, but at a lower cost. Basically, how it works is this. These are plastic tubes here. We've got 5 of them. They're perforated. That allows the moisture to go inside, and then the tubes just carry it on out to the street. The fabric that's wrapped around here prevents any kind of dirt and sand from getting there and clogging up the holes. What we're going to do is we're going to dig a ditch all the way along here, and it's going to go all the way out to the street. We're going to drop this in, backfill it with sand, and then we're going to have a great drainage system that will solve the problem. Now, there are a couple of ways to dig a trench. One is the hard way by hand, and the other is to go mechanical, and that's what we've elected to do. Before we ever thought about digging a trench, though, we checked with the utility company to be sure there were no gas lines or power lines or water lines. We're clear on that. Now, for about 50 bucks, we were able to rent this machine here. It's a trencher, and make sure when you rent one that you go in and talk to the people and learn how to use the thing, because it is something that looks intimidating, but it can sure make digging a lot easier. What we're going to end up doing is digging a trench that's approximately 8 to 9 inches deep and about 4 inches wide. And with this baby, we hope we'll be able to do it. We have really wet conditions here, so we don't know for sure. But let's go ahead and get started. Now that is one great looking trench, and we couldn't have gotten it done this easily if we hadn't rented this equipment. One of the things that we did learn was that we needed to put runners down under the tires so that they didn't dig into the grass, and also to give us better traction. Now, we're going to have to make a turn right here, and the reason is because we can't run straight on out here because we've got these mailboxes in the way. So we're going to turn the trencher around and trench right along here next to the sidewalk over to this joint in the sidewalk. And then we're going to make another turn and go right in under there all the way out to the curb. We're going to have to do this digging by hand and that little bit over there. And the reason we're going to go right here is because if it ever cracks, then it's going to crack at this joint here. Now, in order to drill the hole under the sidewalk, we've got another exotic tool. It's called a boring tool, and it's a two-man job, and so I couldn't get my wife to help, so I've got my friend and sidekick Ted, who's our technical advisor, to help. One thing you'll notice down here is an angle iron. This is over the sprinkler pipe down here. We didn't want to do any damage to that. So, okay, Ted, let her rip. Now that we got all of our digging done, it's time to put the system in place. Our goal is to have it up so that the top of this system is about 2 inches from the surface. In some areas, we dug a little too much. We want to have a nice even flow all the way down, sloping down to the street. So what we're going to do is put some sand in the bottom, particularly up here where we first got started, where we didn't have our trencher adjusted quite right. When we get through, we're going to have it perfecto. Now, the product comes in 25-foot rolls at 37 bucks a piece. Since we have more than 25 feet in our trench here, we had to invest in a second roll. They go together with this connecting piece. It just snaps in place. And then to make sure that you don't get any dirt or sand inside the system, you need to tape it around here. Pull the fabric up over the edge and just tape it in place. And then we're ready to go down and cut it off at the other end. Now, we cut off our second roll of Multi-Flow at the end of the trench here, and then we put an end cap on there, and you can see we cut a hole in the end cap. The reason for that is our outlet pipe is going to be PVC. Ted, could you help me put this thing in the trench? Remember now, it's got to be about 2 inches from the ground level all the way, and we're going to put backfill of sand in there. But first, we're going to have to go over to the curb and make our hole in the curb over there. Then we'll get the PVC hooked up and we're on our way. Now we've put this piece of pipe into the hole that we drilled under the sidewalk. Eventually it's got to come through the curb here and outside so the water can drain. So we rented our third and last exotic tool. It's a hammer drill and it's going to go right through the concrete. Now we've got our entire drainage system hooked up. And what we're going to do next is put some fill sand in here. This is going to be coarse washed sand. It's the best thing for this system. And then we're going to come in here and clean up our mess, put some sod down over this, and it'll grow back in place. It's going to look like $1 million, and we can say goodbye to the swamp forever. Well, we finished our system, we've tested it, and it's actually working. It's bringing the water out where we want it here. It's been sort of a long day. The sun's about to go down. I've got dirty hands, dirty clothes, but we have saved a lot of money to solve a problem. This will cost appreciably less than what a French drain would. If you'd like to have more information about this, why don't you contact us on the internet? It's michaelholigan.com.